Below the surface of Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat, lies a resource so critical it will shape the next century of global power: lithium. This vast, dazzling white expanse, stretching over 4,000 square miles, holds an estimated 21 million tons of identified lithium resources, according to the U.S. Geological Survey's 2024 report. That alone is 1/4 of the planet's entire known supply. But this isn't just one salt flat. The Salar de Uyuni is the northernmost point of what geographers call the Lithium Triangle, a massive arid region spanning parts of Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. This triangle collectively holds well over half of the world's total identified lithium resources. Yet, if you look at actual production, these nations barely register compared to Australia, which mines nearly half of the world's lithium output each year. It's a profound geographic irony. Some of the poorest nations on Earth sit atop the definitive resource of the 21st century's green economy, but are struggling to extract it, leaving others to dominate the supply chain. The distinction between resources and reserves versus production is crucial for understanding this paradox. Identified lithium resources refer to the total amount of lithium estimated to exist in the ground. Reserves, however, are only the portion of these resources that are economically and technologically feasible to extract today. Production, then, is the actual amount of lithium mined and brought to market. The U.S. Geological Survey's 2024 data shows Bolivia alone holds approximately 23% of global identified lithium resources. Chile holds another 18%, and Argentina about 11%. Together, the Lithium Triangle commands over 50% of global identified resources. But in 2023, Australia produced nearly 47% of the world's mined lithium, while Chile produced about 20% and Argentina just 6%. Bolivia, despite its vast bounty, contributed less than 1% to global production. The promise of the triangle is immense, but its current reality is profoundly constrained. The Lithium Triangle's unique geography is both its blessing and its curse. This high-altitude region in the Andes Mountains, sitting at over 10,000 feet, is home to vast salt flats, or salars, formed over millions of years by volcanic activity and extreme aridity. The lithium isn't in hard rock formations, but dissolved in brine, ancient underground lakes of salt water trapped beneath the salt crust. This makes extraction potentially far cheaper than traditional hard rock mining, which is how Australia extracts its lithium. Instead of blasting and crushing rock, the process in the triangle involves pumping the lithium-rich brine to the surface. It sounds simple, but the geography presents its own set of challenges, from extreme weather to remote locations lacking basic infrastructure. Once the brine is pumped to the surface, it's channeled into vast, shallow evaporation ponds. This is where the region's intense solar radiation and high winds become an asset. Over a period of 12 to 18 months, the sun and wind naturally evaporate the water, leaving behind a highly concentrated solution of mineral salts. Lithium, being one of the lighter elements, concentrates at different stages from other salts like potassium and magnesium. Workers then skim off these layers. This concentrated lithium solution, a milky white liquid, is then transported to processing plants. There, it undergoes chemical purification to produce battery-grade lithium carbonate or lithium hydroxide, the compounds essential for electric vehicle batteries and energy storage systems. The entire process relies on huge amounts of land, a stable climate, and significant initial investment, all factors that vary wildly across the Lithium Triangle. For Bolivia, the Salar de Uyuni's vastness has been a source of national pride, but also a political quagmire. The nation's government has long pursued a strategy of nationalization, aiming to develop the lithium industry entirely under state control. The idea is to avoid foreign exploitation and ensure the profits benefit the Bolivian people directly. However, this stance has largely deterred the international investment and expertise needed to build a large-scale, modern extraction industry. Bolivia lacks the infrastructure, roads, pipelines, power grids, and the advanced chemical processing know-how required to convert raw brine into high-value battery components. As of 2023, the state-owned Yacimientos de Litio Bolivianos, or YLB, continues to experiment with pilot projects, but is yet to achieve significant commercial production, despite decades of efforts and multiple partnership attempts with foreign companies. Chile, in stark contrast, has taken a more pragmatic approach, leveraging its established mining industry and a more open policy toward foreign investment. The Salar de Atacama, though smaller than Uyuni, is exceptionally rich in lithium and has benefited from decades of operational experience. Companies like the US-based Albemarle and Chile's own SQM, or Sociedad Química y Minera de Chile, have invested billions of dollars into large-scale brine operations there. These companies have the capital, technology, and export infrastructure to extract and process lithium efficiently. As a result, Chile has consistently been one of the world's top lithium producers, second only to Australia in 2023. Its output, primarily lithium carbonate, is a crucial component of the global supply chain, demonstrating that a clear regulatory framework and a willingness to partner can unlock geographic potential. Argentina sits somewhere in the middle. Its portion of the Lithium Triangle, largely in the provinces of Jujuy, Salta, and Catamarca, has a more decentralized and investment-friendly policy than Bolivia. While not as established as Chile, Argentina has seen a surge of international interest and investment in its salars over the past decade. Companies from China, the United States, and Australia are developing multiple projects aiming to bring new production online. The country's relatively favorable investment climate and significant, though lesser-known, brine resources are positioning it as a rapidly growing player. Projections from the Argentine government and industry analysts suggest that Argentina's lithium production could significantly increase over the next 5 to 10 years, making it a critical supplier as global demand for electric vehicles continues to soar. But even for countries like Chile and Argentina, successfully extracting lithium brine is only half the battle. The vast majority of the world's lithium, regardless of where it's mined or pumped, goes through a crucial processing step in one nation, China. China has strategically invested heavily in refining and battery manufacturing capacity, creating a global choke point. As of 2023, China controls an estimated 70% or more of the world's lithium refining capacity, converting raw lithium concentrates and carbonates into the high-purity lithium chemicals required for advanced batteries. This means that even if the Lithium Triangle nations succeed in dramatically increasing their raw lithium output, much of that material will still need to be shipped to China for final processing before it can be used in an electric vehicle battery. This concentration of refining power in China creates significant second-order effects, shaping the economic fate of nations and the global balance of power. Countries like Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile, despite possessing the raw resource, effectively become upstream suppliers of the raw commodity. They sell their lithium concentrate at a lower value, while China captures the higher value add of refining and battery manufacturing. This dynamic limits their ability to fully capitalize on their geographic hand. For nations attempting to secure their own electric vehicle supply chains, this means a dependence on Chinese processing, highlighting a critical vulnerability in the global green energy transition. The irony is palpable. The world scrambles for lithium, but the economic power resides not just where it's found, but where it's transformed. The global race to decarbonize and transition to electric vehicles makes the Lithium Triangle and China's processing dominance a central strategic concern. Forecasts suggest that global lithium demand could increase by 500% or more by 2030, driven by battery production. This demand puts immense pressure on existing supply chains and spotlights the geopolitical implications of resource location versus processing power. Nations like the United States and European countries are now desperately trying to diversify their lithium supply chains and build out their own refining capabilities. But establishing this infrastructure from scratch takes years, even decades, and billions of dollars in investment, making a rapid shift difficult. The Lithium Triangle countries were dealt an extraordinary hand by geography, holding the key resource for the 21st century. Yet, navigating the complexities of extraction, investment, and global processing has turned this natural advantage into a strategic puzzle. Their ability to translate this raw material wealth into sustained national prosperity hinges on delicate political decisions, international partnerships, and the relentless dynamics of global demand. This global scramble has intensified efforts within the United States to cultivate its own domestic lithium supply. The Biden administration, through initiatives like the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, has earmarked billions of dollars for clean energy manufacturing, including critical minerals processing, aiming to reduce reliance on foreign supply chains. One prominent example is the Thacker Pass mine in northern Nevada, spearheaded by Lithium Americas Corporation. This isn't a brine operation like those in the Lithium Triangle, nor a traditional hard rock mine like Australia's. Instead, Thacker Pass targets lithium-rich clay stone, a geological formation unique in its scale and composition. The proposed open-pit mine, projected to be the largest lithium mine in the U.S., aims to produce 60,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate equivalent annually once fully operational, potentially supplying enough lithium for over 1 million electric vehicles per year. However, even with significant government backing and a projected 25-year mine life, projects like Thacker Pass face considerable hurdles. The initial investment is immense, with the first phase alone estimated at over $2 billion. Furthermore, the permitting process in the U.S. is notoriously protracted, often spanning years due to stringent environmental regulations and robust community opposition. Indigenous groups, ranchers, and environmental organizations have filed lawsuits against the mine, citing concerns over water usage, habitat destruction for species like the sage-grouse, and potential desecration of sacred lands. These legal battles and regulatory delays mean that while the U.S. has significant lithium resources, the U.S. Geological Survey estimates about 1 million metric tons of identified resources, primarily in Nevada and North Carolina. Translating them into actual production is a slow and arduous process. The U.S. currently produces less than 1% of the world's lithium, largely from Albemarle Silver Peak brine operation in Nevada, which has been active since 1966. This highlights a profound irony. Despite its immense wealth and technological prowess, the United States remains almost entirely dependent on imported lithium for its burgeoning electric vehicle industry. In 2023, the U.S. imported over 99% of its refined lithium compounds. Subscribe to TradeWind, and the next video is waiting for you on screen right now.